There it is. All right. We are live. Let's get Ron in here. All right, let's see if we can get Ron to join. We're doing the interview. Hey, we did it.
Hey, I figured it out.
That was quick.
Yeah, got lucky.
I know. I thought we'd have a little bit more technical difficulties on that one.
I would have bet on it too.
Do you hear me good?
I hear you great. You look great.
Okay, good. Good. Just making sure the sound. Yeah, I hear you. I see you. So we're good to go. Nice, man. All right. Usually kind of wait a little bit to get people in here, and then so I think we're gonna kind of talk about. Well, first we'll introduce you. This is Ron from 390. Me and Ron go way back from the old punk rock and politics
Punk rock
days.
and politics. Full disclosure.
Yeah, we used to have some really fun conversations. And we got Scott. What up, Scott? Said what up, Ron?
Hey, is that Scott Clevin?
Yeah.
Wow, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, and then we got 390 at Surf Dogs. Oh, so Spam Johnny said he saw you at Surf Dogs. You guys had a badass set.
How you doing, Joe? Thank you. Appreciate that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys, I don't think you guys have been around, so we're going to do, it's like about a 50-minute interview. And it's an interactive thing. So I've noticed a lot of times the best questions come from the comment section. So if anyone has comments or questions or whatever, just throw them up, and I'll ask Ron, or I'll interject them whenever I can. Because like I said, a lot of times things I miss something, and someone will post a really cool question or a comment, and it always adds a lot to the conversation. So
yeah,
I like having it like a kind of a group, whole group thing. So yeah, we used to talk a lot. I think you were probably one of the most interviewed people on the podcast, actually.
I think so.
Yeah. And I remember when we very, very first met, I got a message from you. It said, what would you say is punk rock, or what in your opinion is punk rock? I think that was the first time I ever interacted with you. That was the question that I got. And I don't know what I'd say, like a lifestyle or a music genre, something along that line.
Some new age response.
Yeah, some political, like ambiguous type of response.
Yeah. Where I come from, the more traditional punk rock is basically just being anti-authority.
Right.
My response, that's old school. That's how we kind of thought of it back in the day. Now it's taken on so many different meanings, and it's cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, totally. I actually had another artist on here. He's like hip hop. And the same thing with that. I think you could also even say the origins of hip hop was kind of an anti-authority art form, or anti-authority music, but then it's also evolved into like fashion, fashion, hip hop fashion and culture, and it grows. Same with like the whole punk rock scene. So all right, so let's get started. So let's kind of introduce yourself and go. And actually, I found out a way to keep these on my page, but kind of put them over into a playlist. So I'm keeping all of these on the page, so they'll be here indefinitely, because I did like to have it more of a conversation base. But actually, you were the one who kind of convinced me to keep it more of a thing that is going, because it's all about content and stuff. So we have this on, it'll be on for a while. So tell us first, give a brief description of 390, how you guys came about, like how did you start the band? I actually don't even know if I know this one.
We were playing in a kind of what you might call an alternative band for a while. Eric, the guitarist, Mike, the drummer. We had a good friend, Brad, singing for us. So we were playing like in 2008, 2009, 2010, a lot around the OC. We were a support act for a lot of good lot of good bands. We played with the Lemonheads. We played with the Hotels. We played with Flock of Seagulls. So that was our thing for a while. But, you know, as a typical musician, you just, you know, you're not happy with, you know, the way things are going, the direction. The guitarist, Eric, was frustrated because we weren't progressing. I was frustrated because deep down, I just didn't like the music. It was good music, but I wanted to do more punk. And as great as our singer was, Brad Williams, it was just, we weren't clicking. So I said, guys, I need to take a break. So that band disbanded. Took some time off. I started writing a lot of songs, you know, songs like I Hate the Government and
I Don't Want to Be Controlled.
Don't Want to Be Controlled.
That's my OG favorite right there.
Oh, awesome. And so, you know, I've got all these songs. I just give Eric a call. Eric has a Pro Tools studio at his house. And I go, hey, but I got all these songs, you know, can I come over and record? He said, yeah, come over and record. So we just started cranking all these songs on his Pro Tools. We got like 20 tunes. It's like, okay, what next? You know, and we just, at that minute, we just said, okay, let's do what we want to do. Let's form a punk band. Eric was far more punk than I ever was. You know, he was far more into the punk bands back in the day than I was. So he loved the idea. So we went back to Mike, our old drummer, got him. And that was pretty much the start. The whole idea was that I was not going to sing. I was just going to wait till we're going to audition singers. But first we need to get a bass player. So we got Ron Beaver, another good friend of ours, another old school punker, played in a band called Soldiers of, he's going to hate me for this, Soldiers of Liberty or something like that. But he played on with a lot of the great punkers back in the day. You know, he knows all the guys. And that was our band. I was just singing to, you know, just till we found somebody else.
Oh, right.
Okay. And then after a while, we said, you know, it was one of those things, Ron, you just sing. So that was the beginning of the band. Okay. Nice. And that's pretty much it. Okay. We're doing what we love to do. We're playing punk rock and it's awesome.
Doing it. Yeah. And then I think I know I did ask you this, but I'm pretty sure I forgot. The meaning of the band is it's 390 is like a police call for, I'm calling it out. Isn't it a police call for like naked in public or loitering?
No.
Loitering?
No, it's it's drunk in public.
Drunk in public. Okay.
Eric, our guitarist, got a ticket way back in the day for being drunk in public, and then on the ticket, you know, in the notes section it said 390, and that's how the name came about. That's the origins of it.
Okay. I was close. I knew it was a police one, but so he wasn't naked. He wasn't.
I don't
naked
think Eric. Well, he might have been naked in public.
He could have been a double whammy, right?
He just never was caught. That's all.
It's Scott.
I think that's indecent exposure. I think that's.
Oh yeah, you're right. And Scott said you guys rock. So
thanks, Scott. So do you.
Scott's stoked that you moved on from the alternative. What, really quick before we keep going, what were you doing in the alternative band? Were you playing instrument or?
I was playing bass.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I was playing bass. Yeah.
Right on. So I mean, and you guys have been playing, because we were doing our interviews and talking, it was what, like 2016, was it? When I was doing Punk Rock and Pop, I think it was 2017.
I think so. Trump was.
So you guys have been, you guys have been playing for like 4 or 5 years, 6 years now.
No, we came on about 16. That's when we came on. Yeah, maybe late.
So about 6 years now. We're in 2022. Yeah. And so after that time, I know you, and one thing I really, really, really like about you is you're all about like fostering a community, about building other bands up to try to create like a really cool community in the OC area, Anaheim, kind of LA area. And I noted, and that's where I've learned about a lot of really cool bands. I mean, like the Whining Pussies, and then a bunch of other really awesome bands that I've seen play with you. It's been cool. And I think that's one thing that I always admired about you. And you're all about promoting other bands, helping other bands to create a community. And recently you're doing a promotion company, right? Is it Working Class Promotions?
Working Class Promotions. Yeah. Thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, it's all sincere. We really do want to help out other bands. I don't know, it just seems to be the right thing to do, right? You just help each other out.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's called Working Class Promotions. And we just, put on our own shows for the most part. It's just that simple. I mean, you want me to go into...
That's relatively new, because you weren't doing that back when I was interviewing you on the podcast. So tell me why. Well, yeah, first tell me, why did you create the Working Class Promotions, and then we'll get into like how you did it and all the technicals. So why did that come about?
Yeah, we were playing around for maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years, and we noticed, generally speaking, the support bands weren't getting paid. Okay, in many cases, not even beer tickets. So you're not only are you practicing for a week or two for that show, and you put in tremendous amounts of resources and labor and energy and time. You're also, the day of the show, you're also given 4 or 5 hours of your time, okay, for that show, and you're never getting compensated. Okay, and so I don't know. For me, I had the belief, being a libertarian, right? If you're going to hire somebody for a show, it's what these promoters are doing, right? They're hiring you, and then they're asking you to basically go to work for them. They're asking you to promote the show. Well, if you're going to hire me and ask me to go work, don't you think there should be some kind of compensation going on? I don't know. It seems fair, right? And by the way, we're not asking for much, just some recognition that we exist. Maybe some beer tickets or some gas money.
Right.
That's it, but that wasn't happening. And it was I remember one email I got from a local promoter. He basically emailed and says, man, you got to get the bodies out. You got to push the show. We want to get a bunch of people there. Okay, but you're not going to give me anything for it. Why am I going to bust my butt, to put money in your pocket and the bar's pocket when you're not going to be kicking down the bands? Okay. And so that was it. And it was like, and by the way, most of these promoters are good dudes. I'm not like angry at them, but we had a choice. And, it's that old punk rock phrase, right? Do it yourself. You can either put up with it or you can change it. So picked up the phone, called a few bars. Hey, can we put on a show? Yeah, here's some dates. Okay, cool. I'll take that date, okay. And then and then the guy says, okay, I'll give you 20% of the bar. And great. And can we sell tickets? Sure. So, we're putting on our own show. And the cool thing is you can ask who you want to play on these shows, right? You can get your buddies. One of our favorite bands in the scene is Wrecked. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we asked Wrecked to come on, and then the business model of Working Class Promotions is everybody's going to get paid. So I can't complain and then turn around and not pay the bands, right? So every time you play on one of our shows, you're going to get paid. How much depends on, the draw,
Right.
But here's a story that kind of, it was like, it just hit home to me and made me realize that this was worth it. We had a show at the Doll Hut. We had like 7 bands, right? And it was Baptized in Sin. They're a local band, and I think it was one of their first shows, and they were on the bill. And so after it all was done, we had like 7 bands, and each band got like $60, right? So I went to give the lead singer his $60, and the kid was just shocked. He's like, what's this? He was like so elated that a promoter came to him and gave him money. It's like, what the heck? Because what I took away from that little brief contact is that he was shocked that a promoter would pay him. Okay. Nice. And because promoters don't typically play the support bands. So, and so going back to your comment about, just building a community, that was the goal. That's what we're trying to do.
Speaking of a community, Rick Dog. I don't know, Rick Dog. It says "Sup, dog." If you know Rick Dog. What up, Rick Dog?
I'm not sure. Some of these monikers I don't know. But
I know. Well, thanks for joining, Rick Dog.
If he can put his name in there, that would help. So right now, so you mentioned about what's going on with it now. I partnered up with Larry Prosser from Celebrity Stalker, another band in the scene, and we're basically promoting at three venues right now. 2 of the venues we pretty much have exclusive punk booking. In other words, the owner comes to us for shows. So if a band wants to play at Surf Dogs in Huntington Beach, he emails us and says, hey, this band wants to play. So that's 2 venues. We have a 3rd venue we're now booking at.
And what's the other one? The Doll Hut?
So we have Surf Dogs in Huntington Beach. We have Boomers in Long Beach, and now we're doing Bobby V's in Anaheim.
Oh wow!
And so and the cool thing, by the way, I would recommend all bands do this. I mean, but the cool thing about it is, you know, it just brings you some, you know, human agency. You know, it brings you a autonomy that you never had. So you can put together the show. You can put your friends on there. Hey, and you can give your band the best time slot in the whole thing. I mean, It's your show, you know, and so it gives you a lot of juice. And it's you know, that's most of our shows that we do now are the ones we promote, but it doesn't mean we won't do other shows. We do.
Right.
Okay. But because, you know, time is limited, you can't play a whole lot of shows.
That's that is kind of crazy. That singer was kind of blown away with getting paid. Cause I mean, I remember when I was playing in bands when I was 16, 17 in high school, when I would directly book the show with the venue, the venue owner, or, you know, whoever was running the show, they would come and, you know, we'd get 10, 20, you know, $30 tops. So it was, you know, but even that was awesome. But yeah, you're right. Whenever it was through a venue, a promoter, it was always like, you're just going to play. And in fact, I'm even going to take it one step further. There was, a lot of times there's these things called this battle of the bands. I don't know if you're familiar with a lot of these, and I hope a lot of this doesn't exist anymore, because this seemed kind of like, talk about like vulture capitalism. We'll get into some politics talk later, but it was kind of like you sell, well, first of all, you have to sell 10 tickets at 15 each, so it's like $150 just to play and get on the show. And then the shows usually started at like 12 noon until midnight. So if you don't sell any tickets, or you sell the bare minimum, you're going on at like 1 p.m. Like who the hell is even going to show at 1 p.m.? And then it was whoever sold the most tickets would get the best time slot. So you're not even getting paid, but you're, in fact, that's like a pay for play type show. And I haven't seen any of those. The most recent I saw any people trying to pull that crap was in Arizona. And this was probably, you know, back in 2012 or something. So I really hope that shit just doesn't even exist anymore. But maybe you could speak more on, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, exactly. And 390 did it. It was a few years back. I don't know if they still do it. My guess is they probably do. But I just told the promoter, you know, don't even bother with us anymore, because our experience was this, right? So just as you say, right, it's all about who brings the most bodies in. Okay. So there's like this, whatever, we had like a 6-7 band, you know, competition someplace in Lake Forest, right? Everybody shows up, and we knew we weren't going to bring a lot of people. Okay. We knew that, but what they tell you is they tell you it's not just about bringing people. There's other criteria. There's how well you perform, you know, how well you operate your equipment, all this other criteria. Okay. And just what in my opinion, what it's just a guise to make you think that this is legit. So we do our show. I thought we did really well. The band that won, okay, they set up and they just screwed their first song up. I mean, they completely just messed it up. They had to fill it with their amps. They were unplugged. I think one of our banders went on stage to try to help them. It was a complete disaster. So afterwards we're thinking, okay, the one band that's not going to win is going to be that band. Well, sure enough, that was the band that won.
Because they probably sold the most.
They brought in a ton of people. So
yeah,
it's a scam. So if you're out there listening, just do it for the experience if you want. It's a great experience, you know, practice, all the kinds. But just don't expect that this is a legit enterprise, because it's not.
Right, and they always call it a battle of the bands, but I always kind of wonder what if you do win, like the bands who even do win, what do they even get? Like, are they booked for a bigger battle of bands and they have to sell even more tickets? That was where I kind of was like, okay, this is, and I mean, sad to say, I actually, in my younger bands, and then I did it again in Arizona. I mean, so I probably participated in probably like 3 or 4 of those shows in my history of a musician, but I mean, total waste of time and resources. And a lot of times you can't sell all the tickets. Here's the dirty secret. A lot of times those poor bands can't sell all the tickets. So they're dropping the money and paying for a couple of tickets on their own and just giving them out to like girlfriends or friends. So what do you even get? I've never even got that far.
Well, but that's up the question. Why do they do that? They do it because they actually think they're going to win. In other words, yes. These groups get these bands' hopes up. Okay, so they come in thinking this is all legit. And a lot of these bands are, you know, okay, man, we can't sell a lot, but we know we're that good. We can win this. So let's go ahead and put our own money into this. And that's what they do. And so in this particular one, answer your question, what did they get? In this particular one, I think there was 3 rounds. Okay. And the grand prize is like a $25,000 record contract with the company that's putting it on. Okay.
Right.
So they're making money each time they hold these events. Okay. And then, you know, the one band that wins will get that quote $25,000 first prize, but I don't know if it's 25,000. I have no idea. You know,
right? And even
who go do a record.
Yeah, and even what record company is it? Or like, if you get your record on them, what is even going to happen? And then if they're already that shady putting it on, do you even want to be signed to a company like that? Like, it all seems so crazy.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's awesome that you guys are doing it good and you're actually promoting bands and you're putting them on and getting them paid and everything. That's awesome. So let's say if someone is hearing this and they really like this idea, I mean, you said just call the venues and go about doing it, but what are some of the like finite steps that if a band or a kid who maybe even someone who's not in a band, maybe someone who just loves music and they don't play music, but they just love music and they want to put on shows, what's some of the steps that you'd recommend to get them started in this direction?
Just do what we did. We just picked up the phone and started calling these venues. I remember walking into Boomers. It was almost like an interview. I just walked in. I sat down with the owner. I called him, said, hey, can I come in? I got some ideas. This is what I want to do. I went in there. I spoke with him. I said, hey, man, you got a good venue here. You got an awesome stage. But what you don't have is any kind of punk rock movement going on. Okay. And so it was just like an interview. I went in there, sold myself and said, this is what we can bring for you, you know, and, you know, that's what we're doing. And, I mean, it's just that simple. You just got to do it yourself, man. You got to get up, you got to go, you got to just go to make contact with the venues, and tell them what you got. I mean, by the way, I don't think it's for every band, you know, cause there's a lot of bands out there playing, a lot of musicians playing in several bands, you know, you just can't do it. It's tough, but you know, but if you want to maybe just put on a show to maybe raise some money for your next CD, you know, do something like that. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. And it's just a question of just, going out there and talking to the clubs.
Right. So, all right. So, and then, all right, well, let's stay on this thing. So let's say, like you said, you don't really have the time, but you aren't well known in the scene. And I mean, kind of like me, I recently, you know, I haven't been playing in bands for ages. You know, it was something I did in high school, and then we reunited. We got in contact from the podcast, and then I think I was doing a couple music, just open mics and just a little stuff, and then you're like, oh man, you gotta get on stage, and I'm like, all right. So then you booked and set up the show for June 17th that's coming up. We'll talk about a little bit more about that show, which I'm really excited. This Friday, just in a couple days. Like, this is going to be my first legit big show since, you know, back in Arizona, you know, like 5, 6, 7 years or longer than that. But so now I'm kind of getting in the groove of things, and I'm playing as much as I can. But so for me or anyone else, what would you recommend on ways of contacting venue owners to get shows and to book shows? And especially if you don't have a lot of content or you don't have a big following, what's some of the recommendations that you would say to do?
Find somebody that you know who knows how to put on a show, like you did with me, or I in this case I think I reached out to you, but you know that I promote. So hey, Ron, I need a show. I mean, I have bands constantly emailing me from out of state. Hey, can you hook us up for this day? Can you hook us up for that day? You just got to know the players, you know. And
right. Well, what if you don't know the players? So you know a venue that you want to play at. How would you recommend a DIY artist or band contact a venue?
Just email them. I mean, that's it. Email them and send your links, send some videos, whatever you want. You know, it's just like a job offer. You're applying for a job, you know. Don't just reach out to them and say, hey, I want to play here. You know, include your links, include some videos, your social media, you know. And so he has an idea now. So like I was telling you earlier, what Surf Dogs does is when somebody wants to play at Surf Dogs and doesn't know me or my partner, Larry Prosser from Celebrity Stalker, they'll just go straight to the venue. Okay, hey, we want to play here. This place is rad. You know, got a good vibe going on. He just sends it to us. and then we call them. So just start with the venue, just email the venue, you know, if you don't know anybody. And that's what you do. Also, just, you know, on Facebook, I got people reaching out to me from out of state, you know, so just go on your social media, you know, find out who's in the scene in that particular area, and, you know, try to figure out who's playing the most, and maybe hit them up on Messenger. I mean, you got to get a little creative, you know, if you don't know. But if you're in the scene long enough, you're going to know who the players are, who to go to. So, and that's another reason why you musicians need to get out more and support other bands, because, you know, that's how you make connections. That's how you people see you. They say, hey, you came to my show. Cool. Thank you. You know, and, you know, that's how you start the whole process.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's all about getting to know people and starting playing. Like I said, I've been playing a lot here in San Diego, and I mean, even just over, like 2 months. I mean, now I'm going out to little open mics and just little random shows that they're putting on. And yeah, I mean, you start seeing people that, you know, they're, hey, I saw you at this venue. Oh, cool. Awesome. And then you got to recommend shows for them to do, or, hey, you should check out this venue, or, oh, because a lot of times people will tell me a venue. I'm home base from San Diego, and people will tell me about a venue. I'm like, I didn't even know this place even existed.
Right. Yeah.
So that's huge. That's huge.
And also when you hang out, and it's happened to us numerous times, we'll go to a friend's show, and some of the guys will come up, hey, man, it's 3 nights. Hey, you guys want to play on our show in 2 weeks? I mean, you know, you're there, and it's like they needed somebody to play. So it's just, you know, being active in the scene, you know, and making it's like any other profession, right? It's who you know.
Yeah. So let's get back into, let's talk a little bit more about your band 390, and then we'll get into some of the fun, juicy politics debate like we always love to do. So I know you had your one big album. When I first discovered and got onto you guys, that, you know, it had you know, I hate the government, I don't want to be controlled. That was like your, you know, your kind of, I think that was your debut album. Did you guys put out a new album? I'm pretty sure you did. Or did COVID, the whole 2020 thing, mess with that? Because the new NSA song, what?
Yeah, no, it's a new CD. It's called Fight the Machine, and I think we finished it before COVID. We just didn't release it, you know, because we wanted to put on a show, the whole thing. So it was done before COVID. We actually did it at the Offspring studio in Huntington Beach. They were on, the guy the guy who did our first CD, Punk Resurrection, name was Scott Rogowski. He did some part-time work with the Offspring. So the deal that the manager of Offspring made with Scott was, hey, when we're on tour, we want you to bring in some talent into the studio, you know, just to pay the bills type of deal. So while Offspring was on tour, you know, we snuck in there and we did our second CD, Fight the Machine.
And that's out now on everything.
It's out on all the digital stores. It's there. We just finished the video, the NSA, and that's out as well.
That one's fun. Yeah, and I just gotta say cheers. What up to Trista, and then what's up to Devil Spirituality. Good. Cheers. Good to see you guys here. Thanks for joining. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, throw them in. We always love getting you guys in here, going in this group conversation. Well, while you're talking about the NSA video or the song, the video is hilarious. And that was one thing that I always thought you guys did such a good job. And I was actually in one of your music videos of the Dollhouse.
We can get into that if you want. But
yeah, well, I think that'll be the segue. That'll be the segue into our politics. But let's talk about your music videos and stuff, like, because they're always so cool and creative. I think you guys, I know it's all DIY, but you always do such a good job with those, with making a funny story, but it also fits with the song. So do you have the same director, or what's up with all your videos?
No, the first one we had Kane Fontecchio. He did our social media. Great guy. He did the first one with us. And he also did the second one, Cast in the Street, that we just decided to pull for a lot of reasons. But this recent one, we did somebody, I have contacts in the Libertarian Party, right? And so I said, hey, I shot out a message. Who can help us with a new video? We want to do a new video. And so got some feedback, and you know, we hit this guy up, James Schumacher, and he's the guy that did it. So he has experience in that.
That's the NSA.
That's the
one?
NSA. That's the new one. Thank you. And so that's how that came about. And but going to what you're saying about, you know, trying to be fun, you know, it's even though 390 is very serious lyrics, we're not serious people. Okay, we're just, I mean, don't take us serious, but the music's serious, and the videos, we just want to bring some humor, okay, you know, to it, you know, lighten up people, because we talked about this. Our culture's just wound too tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know,
okay. I heard you say something, because there's the one that I like that was directed by Kane. That was up at the Doll Hut.
Right.
I drove up to be in that one. It was a blast. And then, but you said something. You pulled it. So what?
Yeah.
All that. Give me the dirt. I have no idea what's up with that, dude.
All right, I'm gonna be directly brutal with you. First of all, everybody who was on that video, and Scott, you were there, and your brother was there.
I was moving mine, and then your phone moved. Right. Like, how did I do that?
I don't know. I think I might have done it.
Oh, I was moving mine. That was funny.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for being there that day. It's just Kane and I just bit off more than we can chew. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right.
We got too into the weeds. We got too detailed. Okay, and with the final product, it just didn't work. The criticism we were getting was it just didn't make any sense. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was getting the feedback, hey, you know, don't put this up, don't put it up type of deal. And so we just took it down. And it might have been up for a few days. And
I did see it. I remember. So I know you put it up, because I remember I did watch it.
Yeah, and I take a lot of the blame for that. You know, we just didn't allot enough time on that day at the Doll Hut where we shot it.
Oh yeah,
to finish it. We started to rush, and things got crazy, and it was one of those lessons learned type of deal. And so I apologize, everybody who was out there that day. You know, I know you came down from San Diego. Thank you. And it was like, you know, it was a tough day. It came a long day, and it just didn't work. And
it did. I remember it went over, but it was a fun time, man. Like, I had fun driving up there. I met a lot of really cool people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got to hang out and just drink beer in the Doll Hut while we waited. Right. So I mean, I'm not mad about that, but I think you're right. There was a lot going on in the video, and that was like at the height of the Trump versus Hillary whole thing. So you really try to put that political spin on it. And Sis has a cool question about, so go into the weeds about like your different mind state between making a music video and then making a CD. And also, how do you look at making a CD as a CD or a bunch of different songs? Because I think that's I think certain bands do it differently. I think they'd make a bunch of different songs, and then there's other bands who make a CD. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. And for us, you know, we have a theme, obviously. We're very anti-government. We don't do love songs. So that's going to be basically the message. It's not all anti-government, but it's basically just, you know, working class, you know, anti-authoritarian stuff. And that's just kind of, so we're going to have a theme. And so when we do a CD, we just, you know, we pick the 10 songs we want to do that we feel would fit. And we practice our butts off, and then we just go in the studio. Because here's a big difference between, to answer the question, between CDs and videos. I mean, CDs, for most bands, it is all DIY, okay? And you go into a studio, man, you just don't, it's not like in the day when the Beatles would go in, right, with ultimate, you know, resources. They can just sit down and do what they want to do and take their time. No, you're on a budget, you know, and so you got to get in, you got to nail these things out. So you're working, okay? You no time to screw around or come up with new ideas, although you do once in a while, but you know, for the most part, you got a script and you're going in there and you're doing it. Okay. So that's, I don't know, that's how we do it. That's how most of our friends do it. It's, you know, you got to get in there, you got to do it. And then as far as the video goes, I mean, it's so much more quicker. I mean, depending on what you want. And going back to our video we were talking about, Chaos on the Street, what we had to just get rid of. There's a classic example of know what you want before you go in, right? We're not prepared for that day. Right. So we learned a lesson from that. We'll make our videos much more simplistic, okay? And we write the script. We know what we're going to do. We give ourselves a kind of a time frame. Like, we can do this in 4 hours, no problem. So, and that's how we approach it. So videos are an entirely different beast, okay? Because you're actually have to, in our case, we write the script out, we get the actors, and okay, this is what we want to portray. So in the case of the NSA, it's about the National Security Administration, right, and how they spy on you. Okay, so what you do is you kind of just leave a lot to the imagination. So so we have our band. The band shoots their part, okay, and shoots the concert version of it, and then we put in actors in little parts, and that's pretty much it. Okay, a lot of it is post editing for the person. In this case, James Schumacher. Right. He's going to go back to his home and do all the post editing, and that takes time.
Yeah.
But for the band, and we don't do that. Although some bands do their own editing, we don't. And so that's kind of how the videos are done. Much more quicker, much more simpler, far less expensive as opposed to CD. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it's funny that when you said the expensive part, it kind of rang some bells. I don't know or how I stumbled onto this video, but I was watching a video on YouTube, and it's showing the prices for music videos. And I mean, did you know, I don't know which Limp Bizkit video it was, but Limp Bizkit spent $4 million on one of their music videos. And then, showing the 10 or 20 most expensive music videos. A few of the top ones were kind of Michael Jackson, but surprisingly, a bunch of them were like Madonna. And all the music videos that were the most expensive were in the mid-early 90s, which I thought that was because that was kind of when MTV was just at its peak and kind of right before it kind of fell into oblivion. So now I think you go and look, I don't even think bands are even, I mean, I'm not talking DIY bands. I'm talking like signed professional bands. I don't even think they're spending $1 million on these music videos. So it's almost kind of like the art of the music video, at least as I knew it growing up, is kind of like a whole new thing with TikTok and Instagram and, the whole YouTube, this whole new world. So I think it's also about balancing, like you said, not biting off more than you could chew, but also doing something that's going to be consumable and fun,
Well, and again, I think the person asked this question understands we're underground bands. We don't have the resources. So this is how we operate. If you're a big band, you can spend the $4 million or whatever Limp Bizkit spend. You have those resources. You can do it, but we don't. So it's a different beast, but a lot of bands, they're very good at social media, and they're making their own videos.
Yes.
And so and you don't. By the way, you don't have to make it in one day like we did. You could just if you got a guy on your team that's really good at it, you can do a little bit here, a little bit next week, whatever. You can take your time. You can piece it together. It just depends on the band. And what you're capable of doing.
Yeah, there's one band down here in San Diego. They're called Nights Like Thieves, and they're a pretty cool band. They're a little bit more alternative, indie rock, but with a touch of punk. But I think I know one of their members is a video producer. Like, that's his full-time job. And so you watch some of their music videos or some of their shorts, and you could tell, you're like, whoa, like, this is professionally done. But I mean, hey, that's another way, get a band member who's a professional videographer.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up and go do a little politics talk. Like I was saying, in that video, I was the socialist. You say you were the libertarian. You have your ties to the libertarian group.
Well, did you volunteer for that socialist part?
Oh, I was like, it has to happen. I mean, someone has to wear it. And knowing your crew, like, that's like a dirty word for all your guys. It's like that would. They would like not want to do it. So I was like, oh, I got it. Like, so no, it was a welcome title for me without a doubt. But because everyone in the music video had a title. They were either and it was kind of the mindset, or what I saw, the vision that you were going for is we have these titles: libertarian, socialist, capitalist, communist, or politically agnostic. And we use these titles to separate each other when at the end of the day, we're all have a lot more in common than we don't. Right?
Agree 100%. Agree 100%. Yeah. Yeah,
and so over the years, I know I've become a little bit more jaded with the political system and just with everything's going on. I would now more consider myself like a political agnostic, where I like to pay attention, but I don't really get wrapped up or involved too much like I would before. I kind of watch it, but I kind of shrug it off a little bit more. And I think that's been a really big lifesaver for me. But I think it's kind of crazy, everything that's going on, from, like you said, from like the whole people being wound too tight, being really over focused on what people are saying, to the hyper separation of people. And it's gotten kind of crazy ever since the Trump era was really what kind of was the main one, like families were being divided. And friends were breaking up. They would not talk with each other. And so, and my thing is, my best friend, he's Republican, and we have some fun conversations. And you're libertarian, and we always end up finding common grounds, even though we don't always agree on things. We always find up common ground, and sometimes we're like, oh, okay. Well, we'll just agree to disagree on this one. So how do we do it? How is this possible, Ron? How have we not like murdered each other or blocked each other on social media?
Was that a question?
In a way, I don't know. How do we keep this? How do we keep it civil between people we don't agree with?
Right. I think a lot of it is how you were raised. Okay. If you're steeped in critical thinking, if you're taught to think critically, you're taught to think objectively. Okay. Treat the person next to you with respect, you're less likely to get all butthurt. Okay. Mm-hmm. In other words, I always like to say, until you know the person, until you know his heart, how do you hate people you don't know? Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. We hate people from our laptops or from our phones. We don't even know these people, but right away we label them Trumpsters or Bernie Bros, whatever it might be. And it's like, well, wait a minute, this guy might be a good dude on the other side of the typewriter. So I think that has a lot to do with it. It's just, I think I think, I don't want to say them. I'm trying hard not to say it, but I do think a lot of the millennials they've been taught a level of tribalism that we just didn't have when we were kids. It just didn't exist. It was all about, like I said earlier, critical thinking, having a debate, knowing that this guy just got a different opinion than you, and that's it, and there was no hate, and it's I don't know, that seems to be gone.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I will push back a little bit against the millennials, because I've participated and I've worked at the Women's March that was post-Trump, with the pussy hats and all that. And I mean, a lot of the people marching there, they were the white middle-aged boomer ladies who were on that. So I don't know where the division comes, but Trista, she's a Canadian, and she says, I look at U.S. politics with a lot of confusion. And so is there one issue, or is it really that complicated? And I think it is that complicated. And I think, Ron, I think you said it the best. It's tribalism. It's this cult mentality. You're with me or you're against me.
But I would just say, if you step back and look at the big picture, I think you can just reduce things down to one thing while we're fighting. And to me, it's just a battle over resources and who controls these resources. Okay, I think that's the battle. And do you, Michael T. Coe, want to control your own resources, or do you want the globalists or the governments to control them? That's the battle, I think. And I think all this other stuff we're fighting for is just distractions, whether it's left versus right, red, blue, conservative, whatever. It's all a distraction, okay? And it's all to distract you and I from looking at the real picture, is that we have these, call them whatever you want to call them, multinational corporations, they are making huge moves. I mean, you know this. I mean, they have gathered more wealth than ever before, and we've gotten poor. So for me, I mean, you know, it's a class struggle. It's what it is.
Right.
I mean, you know, this is what the left used to understand. It's a class struggle. Okay. And we're getting poor. We're becoming serfs. I mean, they tell you this. They tell you you will own nothing and you will be happy. Okay. And this is what's happening right now. This is the battle. And all this other stuff to me is just professional wrestling, sideshows, you know, theater, like this January 6th committee. It's just theater is all it is. Here's this government that is sucking right now. Okay, literally sucking. People are suffering, and this is what they bring us. Seriously, folks.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so I mean, I know it's more complicated than that, but I do think that's the main battle. The main battle is over resources and who's going to control them. This is why I'm a libertarian. Okay, I want to control my own future. I want to. When my paycheck comes in, I want to decide where the vast majority of that paycheck goes. I don't want to be the government telling me where it goes. Okay. Yeah. And so so for me, it's how do we reduce authority in our lives and maximize individual freedom? That to me is what it's about. And all this other stuff is just theater.
Well, it's funny you said that, like the January 6th commission, like I wouldn't even know that was even going on or is even a thing if I didn't have Twitter. If I didn't have Twitter, I wouldn't even know, because everyone I talk to in interaction or online, like interperson, not just like seeing in feeds, no one has ever said, "Oh, did you watch the January 6th committee hearing?" Like no one. Everyone's like, look at gas prices. Look at food prices. Mm-hmm. Like, look at all this craziness that's going on. I can't afford to fill up my gas tank. I mean, that's what people are talking about. So, yeah, I mean, and me, I don't really associate with the Democratic Party anymore because they've just burned me so many times with Bernie. So I just think it's a failure on their part of focusing on the wrong thing. And you know, we only have a few minutes here, and I know we have a lot. We always get crazy, but we're going to have you back on and we'll get really into it. What do you think the objective of this is? Just because I would love to know. You think it's just a political theater, but why?
Well, why is because I really believe this so-called Great Reset. Are you familiar with the Great Reset?
Oh, yeah.
It's basically, like, again, the left used to understand this, okay? It's basically, you have the policymakers. It's these multinational, super wealthy corporations just telling us how to live our lives. They use the government as their enforcers, okay? And they have their little, the media and all these NGOs as to how they distribute this stuff. And we are the masses, and we pretty much got to suck on it, okay? And the best example of that, I would say, was this COVID vaccine, okay? How these big pharma groups, by the way, I don't know if you know, you probably do, you know, is it BlackRock? Is the one that look at BlackRock, look underneath all the corporations that are underneath it.
Yes.
You know, weapons companies, pharmaceuticals. It's like a revolving door, right? It's what's going on. And so you take this vaccine. I don't want to get into the whole COVID thing. I had it. It was brutal. But the whole idea was they had this product. These multinational corporations had this product. They used the government enforcers to push it on you, to coerce you to take it. They used the mainstream media to convince you it was the real thing. And people were literally losing their jobs because they didn't want to take it, or they were forced to take it. Mm-hmm. This is the game, okay? They're telling you how you're going to live your lives. And so I do think that's a big part of it. Now, there's other major factors, major forces going on. The other countries got their interests. I get it. But in the West, like Ukraine. Why the hell are we in the Ukraine? Why do we just give them over $50 billion?
You know what? I was very confused. I was very confused about this, but I'm going to drop a major bomb before we kind of land the plane and wrap it up here. Is Ukraine supplies 30% of the wheat for Europe, and I think it's 6.8% of the wheat and grain for the world. So I believe, as you were saying, the fight for resources, I think that's what I had no idea before, but that's my personal opinion, is I think it's a fight for resources and for food, essentially. Putin is trying to lock in food for his country and his allies, and we're trying to lock in food for Europe and our allies, essentially. Just like when we go to oil with the Middle East, it's all about, like you said, these governments trying to lock in.
Yeah, but and I push back on you a little bit, but the U.S. action is heightened all those prices because we put embargoes on Russia. You know, I mean, you know, it's like we weaponized the dollar against the Russians. And what did the Russians do? They said, screw you. You pay for us in rubles. So what is Western Europe countries doing? France and Germany, they're paying the Russians in rubles, and which makes them richer. I mean, it's, I don't know, and we maybe for another time, but it's very complex. But I do believe that our power, the poorer we become, I think Aldous Huxley had it right, The Brave New World. We are going to be living in this world where we have all this entertainment, all this food, okay, and we're not going to care what these people are doing. We're going to be corralled into the cities, okay, in our little apartments. You know, they're trying to take our cars away from us, right, with all this green stuff, and they're just going to say, here, you live over here. You're a serf. We will tell you how to live your life. That, to me, is the ultimate goal, okay, of these folks, of our betters, if you will, and they're gaining steam. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the World Economic Forum.
Oh yeah,
all that kind of stuff. They tell you this. This is not me. This is what they tell you. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. Okay.
You're making me think too hard. I'm gonna just go take a stoma, and I'm gonna just go and
all right. I probably lost a lot of fans because of that conversation.
Speaking of Huxley, you know. Yeah, so okay, like really quick, obviously I'm gonna link Ron in the description, and we have the big show on Friday coming up at the 17th.
Well, do you have time to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, let's just drop that. We have a huge show, Surf Dogs, Huntington Beach on Friday.
June 17th.
June 17th coming up. Who is playing? I know we're playing. Drop a few of the other names really quick before we wrap it up.
Put me on the spot. It's an all acoustic set.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's a punk acoustic night, okay, is what it is. You're playing, and I'm going to have to say, just post it up.
I'll post a flyer. I'm going to post a flyer probably tomorrow, and then you can see all the bands. And so all these bands, you found them and put this whole thing together, which is like super awesome. I have to thank you so much in putting the show together. Like I've been practicing and playing as much as I can to try to get ready for the show. I'm so stoked, and I think it's so cool that you were like, like you pivoted and you're like, oh, okay, let's do an acoustic thing. So when you approach some of these bands and some of these artists to do this acoustic show, were they like, what, acoustic? I guess I could do that. Or were they like, wow, this sounds fun. Like, what was some of their reaction?
No, we have a great music scene here in Orange County, and there's a lot of talent. And these guys, you know, write their songs on their acoustic guitars, and they play all the time. So they loved it. So
cool.
Now it's coming back to me. Johnster from the Ponds, he's going to be there. Okay, the bass player from the Ex Offenders, Ryan's going to be there, and Keith Ackerman, I think is how I pronounce his last name, from Ninja Gandhi. He's going to be there. So they all play in bands, but this is their chance now to maybe showcase their talent. And
wow! And this is the first annual of the acoustic punk night.
Yeah, at Surf Dogs, yes.
So, and then hopefully it goes so well that this becomes like a thing. And I think any fans of some of these bands are going to really want to go and see these shows because they're going to hear some of their favorite songs or see an artist they really like, and they're going to hear a song in a whole new way that they may have never heard the song before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the game plan. The game plan is we're just trying to make Surf Dogs a kind of a hub of punk rock in Huntington Beach. That's our goal, is to bring people in, make it a venue where it's, you know, people think of it, Surf Dogs, that's where they put on good punk shows. This is just a part of it, you know, bringing in more people, having more ideas, thinking outside the box and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah,
I can't wait. I'm going to try to figure out a way to live stream it, like on here, because I know I have like Trista who's joining us here. I'm going to find a way to live stream it because people are in New York or Canada. They can't watch
Before you get ahead of yourself, Michael, the owner's a libertarian. He doesn't like socialists. So I don't know if you're going to be invited.
I'm a political agnostic, Ron. I told you. I'm. You're like trying. You're pushing too hard, bro. I'm moving out of the socialist, but I'm a political agnostic.
So you're coming over to the libertarian side? Is that
I am in no man's land as of now. I'm wandering in the desert of political agnosticism.
You got to get off the fence, brother. You got to make a decision here.
I know. See, I don't know. That's how it is nowadays. But yeah, once again, dude, I want to thank you so much for putting on the show, for getting these bands, for helping out the scene up there. And I know this won't be the last one. And yeah, and then you're going to be on the podcast again in a few weeks or something, and we'll do another. We're going to flip.
Yeah, I'm going to interview you.
Right? Yeah. So
I want to pick your brain about politics. And yes, you can come to the show if you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah, and then so go check out 390. Obviously, the links and everything for Ron's going to be in here, and then he'll be back on. And then I highly recommend going check out his music videos because they're fun. They have a great message, and they're also fun to watch. So
and we hate the government.
Yeah, and he hates the government. So oh, Ron.
All right.
Dude, thanks for coming on, man.
Can you see the T-shirt back there? Can you lift your camera?
I saw it. Yeah, you've been moving, but we saw it a little bit. The 390. It's a good backdrop. I mean, I only got my blue T-Swift in mine, but
Is that your backup singer?
Yeah. No, she's actually she's the cashier at the Pog Shop. So
Oh. It looked
like Times are rough, dude. Even Taylor needs a side gig now,
There you go. All right.
Okay. All right, Ron, dude, it was so much fun having you. I'll see you on Friday, and then I'm sure we'll have some video and everything going on Friday.
Great. All right, brother.
All right, good talking to you, bro. Take care. Bye.